It's a cult. I mean, that's the only way you can describe it. And everyone has, it consists of basically two groups of people, mostly.
I believe that even if things turn around publicly, I don't think they're going to turn around publicly fast enough to prevent some of the bad things that I think are going to happen.
And I mean, he's mentally unstable and he's getting worse. And we can see it every day in the courthouse. We can see it when he's standing out there complaining about the temperature, when thermometers in the courtroom.
Did you see George Conway absolutely destroy Trump on live TV? Kellyanne's husband didn't hold back, calling Trump a narcissistic sociopath who can't be treated like a normal human being. But the real bombshell? Rumors are swirling that Melania secretly nodded along at home. While Trump was being called everything from a fascist to a petulant man-child by Conway, Melania was reportedly texting her friends that she's tired of the circus. Is the former First Lady finally seeing what the rest of us have been saying for years? Stay tuned as we expose the marriage troubles that might be brewing in Trump Tower right now. Before we move on, I'd like to ask you a small favor. If you appreciate this content, please take a second to like this video and subscribe to the channel. Over 98% of you watch the videos without subscribing. It costs you nothing, but it makes a huge difference to us. So, did you click the subscribe button? Great, thank you so much. Now, back to the video. George Conway didn't hold back when he appeared on that talk show. He completely exposed Trump for all of America to see with surgical precision. While some critics get all red-faced and shouty when talking about the former president, Conway had this eerie calmness that made his takedown even more devastating. It's like he wasn't even trying to be mean, just stating cold, hard facts about the man his wife's colleague worked for. Conway dropped the ultimate diagnosis when he called Trump a narcissistic sociopath.
I think, generally speaking, not in every single case, less government is better than more, because you don't want too powerful a government because you may not like the next government. Spread his disinformation about January 6th and about Spygate even back in 2016. That's what Bongino got on the radar screen for, and COVID, which Bongino got thrown off of YouTube for permanently. He's the crazy one, and everybody is getting more crazy than he is. And as Nikki Haley pointed out when she was telling the truth for a couple of weeks in the spring, I mean,
that's not just political trash talk. That's the kind of thing psychiatrists whisper to each other when they think nobody's listening. Conway didn't just throw the term around either. He explained why we can't treat Trump like a normal human being, saying, "That's the thing everyone has to kind of get used to. It's the reason why you cannot normalize him." Imagine hearing that about your boss from your co-worker's husband. Awkward Thanksgiving dinners ahead. What made Conway's critique so powerful wasn't just the harsh words, it was how matter-of-factly he delivered them. No dramatic music, no shouting, just the calm confidence of someone who's thought this through completely. While political pundits were busy arguing about policies and tweets, Conway went straight for the jugular. Trump's character itself. Remember those bizarre 3 a.m. Twitter storms during serious international situations? Conway brought those up as Exhibit A in his case against Trump's presidential behavior. While world leaders were dealing with actual crises, Trump was rage-tweeting about whatever Fox News had just mentioned. Conway pointed out how this behavior fundamentally undermined Trump's ability to lead effectively. It's like having your fire chief stop to argue with teenagers on social media while your house burns down. The "I alone can fix it" moment got special attention from Conway, who called it a sad, desperate cry for attention. This wasn't just your regular campaign promise. It was Trump telling America that he, and only he, had all the answers. Conway's analysis cuts through the political noise to expose the raw neediness behind such a statement. Picture Melania hearing that line for the millionth time over breakfast. That eye roll must have set a world record. When it came to Trump's economic policies, Conway asked the million-dollar question: who actually benefited? While Trump boasted about the stock market hitting record highs, Conway questioned whether regular American families struggling with bills saw any real improvement. Those famous tariffs that were supposed to bring manufacturing back? They mostly brought higher prices for everyday items. The trade war with China? American farmers and consumers ended up footing the bill. Conway wasn't just criticizing policy, he was exposing the gap between Trump's economic promises and everyday reality. Conway even took aim at Trump's strange relationship with the military, pointing out his Vietnam War service avoidance alongside his creation of the Space Force. While Trump was getting doctor's notes about bone spurs, other young men were shipping off to Vietnam. Decades later, as president, he pushed for a space force that nobody in military leadership had actually asked for. Conway framed it as a vanity project, another way for Trump to put his stamp on something without addressing actual military needs. What makes Conway's assessment so powerful is that these aren't just political disagreements. They reveal fundamental character issues that would make anyone, even a spouse, question their life choices. Conway wasn't just attacking Trump's policies, he was exposing the man behind the Golden Curtain. The kind of man who would tweet insults while world leaders were in crisis meetings. The kind of man who believes only he can save America. The kind of man who creates military branches, like their new Trump-branded products. The most uncomfortable truth Conway exposed is that these character flaws aren't just bad for politics. They're unbearable in personal relationships too. How do you live with someone who, according to Conway, cannot accept responsibility for anything? How do you share breakfast with someone who might start a Twitter war before the coffee's ready? These aren't just leadership problems, they're fundamental human problems. Speaking of unbearable relationships, the person who might secretly agree with Trump's harshest critic could be sleeping in the same house. While we've witnessed those awkward public moments and forced smiles, a growing mountain of evidence suggests Melania's true feelings might align perfectly with Conway's brutal assessment. Is America's most visible political marriage actually its most miserable? The 2012 plane incident tells us everything we need to know. When Trump's nephew Fred accidentally spilled a drink, Donald erupted like Mount Vesuvius. According to All in the Family, The Trumps and How We Got to Be This Way, Trump became seething mad and started yelling about $100,000 worth of damage. Just picture it, a grown man having a complete meltdown over some spilled juice. And what was Melania doing during this tantrum?
I mean, that's basically what just happened here with Nikki Haley. And the person who has really lost it the most is Donald Trump.
And it has to be individualized. They did not do that because they just fired everybody en masse. They pretend that, oh yes, we made a determination, but that's it's bullshit.
Some people who have basically completely lost it, the people we see in the House of Representatives, and then there are people who are basically afraid to call out.
Sitting there, completely silent, probably thinking about her life choices. That silence has become Melania's trademark. While her husband tweets, rants, and raves, she's perfected the art of the blank stare. You know the one, that expression that says, "I'm physically here, but mentally I'm on a beach in Slovenia." It's the same look she gives when photographers catch her swatting away Trump's hand during official visits, or when her smile drops the second she thinks cameras aren't rolling. Her carefully crafted persona isn't just for show, it's survival. Think about it. If you had to listen to the same nonsense the rest of America only gets in small doses, wouldn't you also develop an impenetrable poker face? Behind those designer sunglasses isn't just a former model. It's a woman who's learned to hide her true thoughts better than a professional card player. Body language experts have had a field day analyzing the Trump's marriage. There's the infamous hand swat in Israel that went viral faster than cat videos. The way she physically recoils when he tries to touch her in public. The smile that materializes for cameras, then immediately evaporates. These aren't just awkward moments between spouses, they're glimpses behind the curtain of a woman who might be silently screaming, "Get me out of here!" Even more telling is what sources close to Melania have revealed. Reports suggest she's tired of the circus, a phrase that perfectly captures what it must be like living with someone Conway described in such unflattering terms. Just imagine waking up every day to a new crisis, another rant, another embarrassing moment splashed across global headlines. Who wouldn't get tired of that circus? While Donald obsesses over his image, his buildings, and his social media presence, Melania has reportedly carved out her own separate existence within their marriage. It's the ultimate form of self-preservation, creating emotional distance when physical distance isn't always possible. She's built walls within walls, developing interests, routines, and even social circles that don't include her husband. Not exactly the hallmark of marital bliss, is it? The most fascinating question isn't whether Trump possesses the character flaws Conway outlined. It's whether Melania has been privately nodding along to those criticisms all these years. Has she been sitting in that gold-plated apartment thinking, finally, someone's saying what I've known all along? The evidence pointing to her agreement isn't hidden in secret recordings or anonymous insider claims. It's written all over her face, her body language, and her increasing absence from Trump's side. Remember that infamous jacket she wore to visit detained migrant children? The one with "I really don't care, do you?" plastered across the back? Everyone assumed it was directed at the media or critics of Trump's immigration policies. But what if it was actually the most honest public statement she's ever made about her feelings toward her husband? What if that jacket was her way of telling us exactly how she feels about the man Conway just eviscerated on national television? Their relationship has always been a mystery wrapped in designer clothing. There's the 24-year age gap, the stark personality differences, and the lingering question of what exactly she gets from this arrangement besides material wealth. Is it possible that Melania, the Sphinx-like figure who rarely speaks publicly, silently cheers when critics like Conway say out loud what she can only think privately? Behind those designer sunglasses might lurk a woman with the most uncomfortable front row seat in politics. Imagine watching your husband get psychoanalyzed on live TV while you're trying to enjoy your morning coffee in a gold-plated mug. For Melania, that's just Tuesday. The real bombshell isn't what Conway said about Trump, it's the bizarre workplace dynamics that Melania witnessed firsthand when Kellyanne Conway came home each night to a husband who called her boss a fascist and malignant narcissist. Talk about taking your work problems home with you. The Conway household must have been like a bizarre political sitcom. Kellyanne defending Trump at press conferences during the day, then sitting across from her husband at dinner while he diagnosed the president with every personality disorder in the book. And there's Melania, silently observing this strange professional tug-of-war, perhaps wondering if George Conway was speaking uncomfortable truths she couldn't say out loud. This workplace soap opera highlights something genuinely disturbing: the personal cost of being in Trump's orbit. When your husband's employee goes home to someone who thinks your husband is fundamentally broken as a human being, that's gotta make the White House Christmas party super awkward. Did Melania and George ever exchange knowing glances across the room? Did she ever secretly want to high-five him for saying what she couldn't? Conway's assessment that Trump can't take responsibility for anything matches perfectly with reports about his personal behavior. He's the human embodiment of "it wasn't me," always blaming someone else, never admitting when he's wrong. Living with someone who never thinks they've made a mistake isn't just annoying, it's relationship poison. Even when you're surrounded by luxury, being married to someone who thinks they're always right must feel like the loneliest kind of prison. Perhaps the most chilling insight into Trump's true character comes from his own family. When Trump's nephew Fred called about his son's medical fund running out of money, Trump allegedly responded, "I don't know." He doesn't recognize you. Maybe you should just let him die and move down to Florida. Let that sink in. This is supposedly how he treats his own blood relatives. If that's how cold he can be toward family in crisis, what kind of emotional support could Melania possibly expect behind closed doors? No wonder sources report Melania has been missing from Trump's side at key events. The more she hears assessments like Conway's, the harder it becomes to maintain that poker face. Every public criticism of Trump must hit differently when you're sharing a roof with the man. It's one thing when strangers call your husband heartless. It's another when you've potentially seen that heartlessness firsthand. Trump's need to put his name on absolutely everything, buildings, steaks, universities, wine, reveals a type of insecurity that must be exhausting to live with. He's like a toddler constantly shouting, "Look at me," while Melania tries to maintain her dignity and privacy. For someone who seems to value quiet elegance, being married to a human billboard must feel like living with a car alarm that never stops. The elephant in the gold-plated room is whether Conway's brutal assessment of Trump as a petulant, egotistical man-child with zero regard for anyone or anything other than his own inflated ego rings true for Melania. Does she see these same behaviors when the cameras are off? When the makeup comes off and the Twitter phone gets put down, which probably never happens, does she recognize the man Conway described? This might explain Melania's sphinx-like expression. It's not that she has nothing to say, it might be that she has too much to say, and saying it would bring the whole house of cards tumbling down. Her silence isn't empty, it's strategic. When your husband allegedly tells family members to let their children die rather than help with medical bills, you develop a pretty impressive poker face. The real marriage bombshell isn't just Conway's criticism. It's that these criticisms might be the same things Melania has been thinking all along but can't say out loud. Conway had the luxury of speaking freely. Melania doesn't have that option without blowing up her entire life. So she watches, she waits, and occasionally she wears jackets with cryptic messages that make everyone wonder what's really going on behind those sunglasses. What made George Conway's takedown of Trump so effective wasn't fancy political talk or dramatic gestures. It was his straight-up, no-nonsense approach. He simply stripped away the distractions and called Trump what he is, a petulant, egotistical man-child who's fundamentally unfit for leadership. No sugarcoating, just brutal honesty. And that might be exactly why Melania keeps that mysterious half-smile plastered on her face. Living with someone Conway described as a criminal can't be easy, gold toilets or not. Next time you see Melania's face frozen in that familiar expression, remember, she's not just standing there. She might be thinking, "Damn, Conway nailed it."